we wanted to go over the devices that you all have, just so you know how to properly set them up and everything. So I'm just gonna take a few minutes, or a few seconds really, to go over each device, the type of connections that we have, and just some basic things that you may need to look into. Alright, so this is our standard issue monitor. They're usually about 24 inches and above. And on the back here, you'll have a power cable, and you'll also have usually we use DVI now, and the two look like such. You can see those. All right, and just fit them in, make sure they're nice and tight. And for the DVI cable, you're gonna have to screw in both sides. Make sure this isn't wiggling out, and you're all set up on the monitor. Okay, so here we have the two desktops that you'll usually see, and this is what the front looks like on each. And generally there are about 4 USB ports on each one of these desktops. In case you need that. Turn these bad boys around. And depending on which desktop that you have, let's see, you'll notice that they may have 2 of these Ethernet ports, and this is where you're going to get your internet connection from for your desktops. So you're going to take your Ethernet cable, and it doesn't matter which port you plug into. So just go ahead and plug it in. Fits one way. And set this long guy to the side, and then just make sure you also have a power cable. So I'm going to switch over to this one. Make sure we have a power cable and plug that guy in. And like I said, depending on which desktop that you have, you'll have different connections. So we'll just go to this one first. This one, you'll notice that you have 4 connections, and these are DisplayPort connections. And the adapter for that looks like such on one end, and then looks like this on the other end. And what you'll do is you'll plug an adapter to the port there, and then you'll take your white DVI cable, plug in, and screw in on that side if you need the adapter. Now, like I said, you have a couple of different options for desktops. So if you don't have ports like these, you will just have one DVI adapter, in which case you'll just one DVI port, and you'll just plug the DVI straight into the desktop there and screw it in. Alright, the next device we'll cover is the Surface Pro, and this is generally what it looks like for those of you who have one. So I'll set this to the side, and most of you know the keyboard is detachable and magnetic. So there's the bottom there, and just bring it close, it'll snap on. So we'll go through the process of setting this up. Set the kickstand up there. So here is the docking station for the Pro. It's on the table. And on the back of it, you have 2 USB connections, 2 mini DisplayPort connections, an Ethernet connection, and a power. So just to go through the process of setting this up, we'll take our power brick for the docking station. I'm going to go ahead and plug it up first. And we'll take an Ethernet cable, and we'll plug this up, and plug this up into, if you're in the office, plug it into your phone, but if you're at home or anywhere else, you can plug it into where you have a hardwired connection. And here is the adapter. So on one end you have the DisplayPort, the DVI port that you're familiar with. on this end you have the mini display port. So we're going to plug the mini display port, into one of the spots there, and we're going to take a DVI cable and plug into here. It only fits one way, so plug in and make sure everything's nice and tight. And the opposite end of this cable will plug into a monitor. And so once you have everything set up and connected, you're going to take the additional cable that's sticking out of the docking station, and you're going to plug it into, if you're facing the surface, the right hand side of the surface. And you can put it upwards or downwards, whichever way fits best. And you're just going to connect there, and you'll know everything's connected and working properly once you see a light on that connector. Alright, so this is our standard non-CAD user laptop, and so these are our Elitebooks, and there are a couple different models floating around right now just because we've had them in inventory so long. So depending on which model you have, you'll have a couple different connectors. I'm just going to go over this one here. So on this one, the charger for it will look like this. And the charger port that you plug into the laptop itself, so it'll be a little bit slimmer than the one I'm about to show you. For the older models, you have a connector that looks like this. But we are going to repurpose the older chargers to give power to the docking station for these. So this is the docking station for the Elitebooks that we currently have. And these spots right here, fit into these grooves. So whenever you set it on top of the docking station, just wait for it to just kind of sit flush. And once everything's locked in there and everything, go ahead and slide the lock in there. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this bigger power adapter, you're going to plug it into the docking station. So I even get confused myself. This is not a power cord, this is for a lock if we ever locked our docking stations, but we keep them pretty mobile. So the power port is actually right here, closer towards the left side. So you're going to plug that one in. And for monitors, you're going to want to use a display port to DVI adapter. And so we're going to plug this end here to the back. Do this upside down. Boom. And then we're going to take our network cable as well. So we have a hardwired connection. Plug it into the back as well. And just to jump back a little bit, take your DVI cable and just make sure you plug that into the adapter here. And then screw it in. Make sure everything's tight. And this just can kind of sit to the side. This is your charger for your laptop. This can sit to the side until you're ready to just take the laptop off of the docking station. Do that. And if you ever need to charge without using the docking station, you can just plug using the laptop charger. All right, our next model will be the Z-Books, and we have a couple of different models floating around. So here on my right, we'll have the older model. They're black and they're about the same size as the newer ones, but they're just a little bit more round, I guess, for lack of a better description. And so the connections are virtually the same on both. You have your Thunderbolt adapter, which I'll talk about. You'll have an HDMI on both, and then you'll have your, on this one on my left hand, you'll have a mini display port. And then on this one, you'll have like an HDMI. So that's the difference there. So I'll go over the older model first. The older models, they both, I mean, a docking station is interchangeable for both, but I'll go over this docking station first. So this is what we call a Thunderbolt adapter. We'll call it a Thunderbolt adapter here. And here's what the docking station, front of the docking station looks like. And here's the back. And so the Thunderbolt adapter will go to this side here, and it'll fit one way, but it's got two connectors on it, so just be mindful of that. We'll plug that in, and then the rest of the setup is virtually the same as the rest. So we'll make sure we have our Ethernet cable. We'll plug that in the right way. And then we have our GVI to display port adapter. Get down. Plug that in. And then we'll take our DVI cable, plug it into the DVI adapter, and screw it in nice and tight. Now here's where things get a little bit different. So the charger for the actual laptop itself looks like this. It's a bit bigger, kind of clunkier. It'll have a power cable on this end. This was used to power the laptop or the docking station, So I'm gonna plug that in, and once everything's completely set up, this is virtually what it will look like. And so I'll move on to the other side, and I'll just show you pretty much the same setup here, except with the newer docking station. The newer docking station is this nice cube here. As a disclaimer, the power button for this docking station is on the top. So if you're setting this up, be careful hitting this, because you will turn off your laptop hitting this button once it's plugged into the laptop. So just keep that in mind. So the newer docking stations, they split apart, the connectors split apart, but they go in the same way. Just plug that one in. And these newer docking stations take a different power cable. And this is the front, here we go. And so the power cable looks like this here. And we'll plug that guy into the port it belongs to. And let's see, we'll take our other standard setup, our Ethernet cable, plugged in, and our DVI to display port adapter and DVI cable. We'll plug those in. And once this is plugged in and snug and everything's nice, you'll be all set up.